Yeah, I love raising little girls. I love my daughters so much. I think they're really fun. When their mom and I split, they were 2 and 3, and yeah, you couldn't really do anything. You were just, you were with them
24/7.
Yeah.
Like you can't take your eyes off them.
Yeah.
You can't take a shit without them being right
Oh
there.
yeah, you still can't. Like yesterday, I was like, I need a few minutes, guys.
Yeah.
And like within minutes, they were like screaming. Like my youngest was just screaming. I thought something was terrible happened. So like rush outside. I'm like, what is going on?
With toilet paper.
Yeah, right. It's like
waddling.
Oh, and I was like, what is going on?
Got that one going.
Can I put my feet on this?
This one going. Yep. Hey, that's what it's for, man.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna actually be real bold. Do you care if I ditch my socks?
Ditch your socks.
I hate wearing socks, dude. If I'm wearing shoes, yeah, they're the worst. I'm always ditching my socks when I can. There you go. Now this doesn't even look awkward. Now people are like, oh, that makes sense.
This is totally.
Yeah, it's like the new way of sitting. This is 2023. Let's reinvent the sit.
Get rid of these glasses. I have to pretend that I can see.
Dude, it's what I really notice it with my kids. Because, how kids get, so close to your face.
Yeah.
I'm like, they'll be like, Dad. I'm like, hold on. I'm like, I can't focus on you when you're that close. It's like, like Bing Crosby in White Christmas, he talks about playing trombone.
Yeah. That's
what I always feel like. I'm playing trombone.
Yeah. Because without glasses, I have to hold it way, like my phone, for instance, way the heck out here just to get an inkling of what's going on.
Yeah.
I incorporated the bifocals into my life. So the bottom part, the top part is nothing. It's just clear.
Nothing at all.
Yeah. And the bottom part is my, I can read. So because at work I'm reading and I'm talking, I'm looking up, I'm looking down. So instead of taking glasses and going off, on, it's this bifocal thing. Yeah. That's what works for me.
Yeah, I got to figure that out soon.
Yeah. Well,
I'm supposed to wear glasses. So what? What's your question?
Do you wear glasses?
I started wearing glasses in 3rd grade.
Oh, really?
Because my eyes were awful. I remember driving home after I got glasses and being like, oh my gosh. I remember, very clearly remember looking at the trees and being like, look at all these leaves. Because it had just been a green blur for so long.
Really?
And I didn't realize that until I was like, oh my gosh, look at all this.
Yeah.
And then, and then maybe 10 years ago, a little bit more than that, I had LASIK. And so that's got me through quite a while. About 4 years ago, I went and they were like, oh, you have an astigmatism. You should start wearing glasses. But it freaked me out, man.
Yeah.
It I felt like I was in a fun house. Just
really?
So I've just chosen this and I feel like I can see fine.
Yeah. You've chosen this, meaning
nothing.
Just
this is what my eyes
just
are
being.
Seeing.
Yeah.
Just existing.
Yep.
And so I don't know.
Yeah.
I do think about that though, because obviously the industry that I'm in, I need to see what I'm doing, and so I do get worried. I'm like, oh, are my days of being able to make sure focus is sharp and stuff like that, are those numbered? Yeah. Because again, you're looking at monitors sometimes that aren't very big.
I did exactly that. I was making videos during the pandemic. And I would film everything, and I felt good, and I was ready to go. And then I watched it back on the bigger screen, and I'm like, what the hell? It's all out of focus. It was so bad. I'm like, what is going on? Because I was in denial forever. I was reading stuff holding it way the hell out there. And then it's finally, I was doing an audition. And my coach, Frank Rossi, do you know Frank?
I've never met him, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, he was in the audition with me. I don't know why he was working, with casting and auditioning. And after the fact, he came up to me and he's like, "What is wrong with your eyes? Why are you holding the script way the heck out here when you're auditioning?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I was just." And I justified. I'm like, I was just trying to hold it out of the
so people can't
the frame, So I swear, and I look back at that now, and I was just fooling myself. I was trying to convince myself that that's what I was doing, and that I didn't need glasses and stuff. And that was years ago. finally, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, because that was like 10 years ago. But then like 3 or 4 years ago, I'm like, I can't see anything. I better get some glasses, do something so I can see.
Is it weird though? Like when you just look down and you're not trying to look at something close, or you just got used to it?
I can like see stuff, and like, you know, there's lettering on that tripod leg and that I can read and stuff. But I guess it's up close. I can't figure anything out. So me and you're clear as day, you know, but if I'm looking down and try to focus on something close, I can't read it.
Yeah.
And it's weird.
Yeah. Well,
and it's getting worse.
Getting old.
It's getting worse too, because I had to get a stronger bifocal.
Oh, really?
Magnification. Yeah.
You don't want to just like Sherlock Holmes yourself with like a magnifying glass as you walk
or
around?
like a monocle, right?
Ooh, a monocle.
That would be a good look.
Nobody does that. People would remember you.
Yeah.
They'd be like, remember that dude? What was that guy with the monocle's name?
I don't know.
People call you Mr.
We call
Peanut.
him dude with the monocle. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Anyway, we've been rolling all this time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I apologize to anyone listening. This is terrible.
No. Jason Jurewicz.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. And I'm glad we reconnected, because I feel like obviously we're always friends, but like I hadn't been in contact with you for quite a while. And I know, you know, our lives have taken weird turns and stuff that we'll save for a later date.
Yeah, right.
But yeah. I wore my Dada shirt today
Because
I know, because I'm a dad and you're a dad, and that's something that we share. And who knew we would be? How do I put this? Tastefully older gentlemen with
young children.
Young children. Mine's 2.5, and yours is
4 and 6.
Okay, 4 and 6. Yeah.
And like a young 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 girls, right?
2 little girls.
Yeah. I can't even, like, okay. So they say that there's a difference and that girls are easier to raise than boys. And I can tell you, only from my own perspective of raising a boy for 2.5 years, that he is, how do I put this? He's very high energy.
Yeah.
And very, like just this weekend, he had a terror streak in him. And everything he did, he knew he was going to do to like try to push my buttons. You know, he hasn't pushed my buttons yet, but he has this, just this weekend, he started this evil little grin and laugh. This, I'm about to throw a car at the TV screen, you know, a metal Matchbox car at the TV screen, which he did. And, you know, just little things like that. So what is it like raising girls?
I mean, I've never raised a little boy, so it's just...
I know, yeah.
I think, yeah, I love raising little girls. I love my daughters so much. I think they're really fun. I think the hardest part is just that there's 2 of them, honestly. Like, when one of them's not around, it's way simpler, because they'll be, like, best friends and just be, like, doing... You know, you'll look at them and they'll be, like, so cute, just playing together really nicely, until they're not. And then you'll just be, like... You just hear like these blood-curdling screams and like somebody hit somebody or kick somebody. Over the weekend, my little one kicked my other daughter in the head, and she said it was an accident. She wasn't trying to kick her head; she was trying to kick her body. That was her excuse. I'm like, well, you don't hit people.
Let's not kick either.
Yeah. And so what I've heard is that like little boys, little girls are easier than little boys, because little boys have all the energy and those are a little bit more mellow. But then as they get older, they start to become just more difficult, and where the boys are like, okay, I'll submit to your authority and just kind of listen to you. Yeah. And the girls are like, I'm not doing what you say. Yeah. So I think I'm already seeing that in my 6-year-old, and I'm like, whoa, I thought I had a few more years of them being like like
chill
daddy girls,
and,
you know, and
yeah.
then it's not necessarily the case.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. Like I'm really lucky. I have 50-50 custody with them, so like I'm with them like every weekend.
Yeah.
I'm with them from either Friday or Saturday through Tuesday, and so we get to do a lot of fun stuff. And
yeah, that's really cool.
yeah, it's fun watching them grow up and just try new things. And even just this summer, like my older daughter went from like the first time we went to the swimming pool this year, right? She was like, you know, clinging to the edge, wanted to have her floaties on, like didn't want her face to even get wet, to, you know, 2 months later, she's going under, you know, off water slides and like practicing swimming underwater and like doing all that stuff. And it's just neat to see them push themselves and try new things and see what they're into and what they like. And yeah.
Wow. That's whoa. So, okay, here's what I run into. Trying to occupy his time with stuff. I mean, he plays well alone here, there, everywhere, plays with a dog, plays with his toys. But at 2.5, mostly wants to play with me.
Yeah.
You know? And I try, and I'm 52, so like my energy is is
you're not a kid anymore.
Yes, it's not what it was at 25, you know? And that's another thing, actually. I found that I have to work out in order to keep up with him. Like, I'll work out every day now, where before it was like, I'm not sleeping, I'm not eating right, I'm not, you know, doing anything, and I'm not working out, and just my energy level just plummeted. But now, like, I have to force myself to work out every day, no matter what, because, you know, and there are most days when I'm just not into it. Like, I'm not going to hit the weights or jump on the bike today.
Right,
and then I feel it. Yes.
You're more tired already to begin with. But if you don't do it, you're even worse off.
Yeah. And I'll feel it immediately. If I don't work out that day, it's just like, I should have worked out, because I have to keep my strength up, because he's always wanting me to carry him. He's 40 some pounds or whatever. Wow. And I think, right?
I don't know. My 4-year-old's 42 pounds.
All right, maybe not then. Maybe he's 30.
I don't know. Maybe he's really heavy. Does he have thick legs?
He does.
Maybe he's
just like Dad.
Yeah, right. It's just,
yeah. I mean, he's solid. Whatever he is, he's heavy. But I also noticed once I started working out, he got lighter, right?
Yeah, right.
In my arms and stuff. It's like, oh God, thank God, you know, I can do this now. And I found that. Well, are you doing the same thing? Because you look great. You're in shape. And
well, thanks. I hope if anybody's watching this, they look on camera and think, "Oh, he does look in shape." They don't disagree with your assessment.
Now I got to suck it.
But yeah, right. Yeah, man. I used to love working out. I used to love getting fit and watching when I'm eating and doing all that stuff. And then for years I didn't. And the last handful of months I've kind of got back into it, taking it real seriously. Really, I mean, it was, you know, the girls wanted me to hold them, and just that being challenging, especially because, you know, if there's two of them, we're out somewhere and I'm holding one so they can see something, for example. The other one's like, oh, hold me too.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, one's 40 pounds, one's 50. So, you know, I try to. God. I mean, my endurance might not be what it is, but or what it once was. But I think the biggest catalyst is like, so we have bunk beds, and we do our bedtime routine, and then, you know, we're like kind of like laying on the floor or like propped up against the lower bunk. And we do our stories and stuff like that. And then I like lift the girls up and put them into bed. And like lifting you know, my oldest daughter up to her top bunk, it was getting really hard. And I'm like, they're only going to be little for a while. Like the number of years that she's going to want me to lift her up and put her into bed are numbered. And I don't want it to stop because I'm not capable of doing it. So that was kind of a big thing, because I was like, oh man, like I'm really struggling here. So, you know, and it was like a big ego check to kind of go back into the gym. And I met with a friend of mine who's a trainer who helped me come up with a program to say like, all right. And I was really, I mean, it's tough to be like, oh, I used to lift this much, and now I'm like lifting what would have been like warm up sets.
Yeah,
and I'm like
that's a thing too. It's like, oh my God, like, because I would always have 45 plates on the bench press, no problem, and then I'd keep adding and adding and adding. Right. You know,
and now it's like 25s on to warm up.
Oh my God, like what happened to me? And luckily I I just wrote it up to old age or whatever, but now luckily I'm doing more and more and more, and those 45s are back on. Nice. At least.
Nice. Yeah, mine are going. I'm trying to not have an ego
maximum
about it. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm trying to not have an ego about it, and like if things are sore, like if my shoulders getting tweaked, to like drop those weights again and try to instead of trying to push through it, because I think I'm 43 and just being like, okay, the days of me being like this absolutely shredded monster are long gone. But I'd like to just be like this functional guy who can play with my daughters, and hopefully by the time they're like teenagers, also not look like just a lard ass when they have boys come over. I want them to think. I want these young men to think, maybe this guy could take me. Yeah. I don't want them to think I could definitely destroy them.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't fuck with him. Don't fuck with his daughters.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a sign up right by my weight bench that says, "Stretch first, otherwise you're gonna," whatever it says. Don't pull a muscle or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I always forget, and I fucking didn't stretch this morning, and all day. What's this one called? The
trapezius?
Trap?
Yeah, your traps.
Yeah. I definitely pulled it. And I'm just like, and I've got a huge weekend ahead of me, not only with Christian, but with 2 DJ gigs and the 48-hour
that's
film this weekend. So it's like, I gotta just relax and heal before then, and I hope that this and this and that. But that's another thing. I pull muscles a lot easier. I'm finding out.
Yeah, body's like, don't do this to me.
Yeah.
You gotta like coax it.
Total resistance. Yeah, but and do you do supplements and stuff?
You know what? So I started doing protein.
Yeah.
Because for like a couple months, I started doing some cold plunging, and then I was like working out.
Ooh. And do you have a cold plunge?
No, I'm not doing it right now because the weather got nice. I was actually going to a creek by my house. Oh. So I was like, so it would be like snow and sometimes like ice on the water, and I get in there and just trying to show up. It was cool. And then my daughters, like, they were with me on the weekends. So at first they would show up, and then my youngest was like, I want to go in. So I was like, great. Well, if I'm getting in there, maybe she can. She's littler than me, obviously.
Kids can do it, yeah.
But kids don't care as much. So we at first they were just like walking into like their ankles, and then it was still like snow on the ground, and I'd wait till I was done. I would just go in the water. I'd bring like this little water thermometer so I could check the water and stuff. And it's not usually freezing because it's even though it's moving, I wasn't getting like super frozen water, which I guess can happen. But she would my youngest one would get in, and like the one day it was like this super hard current, and we were like just getting in and like going down like 20 feet as the current took us, and getting up and walking. And,
oh wow!
Yeah, it was fun. They're like, because I want them to be tough. I want them to understand that like to be uncomfortable is not the same as to be hurt.
Yeah.
To be uncomfortable just means that you're challenging the zone in which you can operate.
Exactly. Yeah. What a great philosophy to teach them that early.
I mean, they might not pick up on any of that. They might just be like, "Oh yeah, Dad's getting in cold water." But like, we try to talk about the stuff like that. We go on a lot of hikes and stuff, and and just this idea of like, I think it's the easiest. My advice to you, I don't know how things are, but you talked about always having to play and stuff, and I think I'm kind of lucky because the girls entertain themselves a lot, and they're older. Like, dude. Yeah. When their mom and I split, they were 2 and 3, and you couldn't really do anything. You were just, you were with them
24/7. Like you can't take your eyes off them. Yeah. You can't take a shit without them being right there.
Oh yeah, you still can't. Like yesterday, I was like, I need a few minutes, guys. Yeah. And like within minutes, they were like screaming like. My youngest was just screaming. I thought something was terrible happened. So like rush outside. I'm like, what is going on?
With toilet paper.
Yeah, right. It's like
waddling.
And I was like, what is going on? And they were and like they were fighting because they were trying to use a bike, and I guess my older daughter gave the younger daughter a boost, and she's like, she didn't give me a boost, she hit me. And I'm guys. I was like, so yeah, they still need a lot of supervision. Yeah, but I found like the easiest way for me to parent is like out in nature. It's way easier, like going on hikes, playing in the woods. Yeah. When I'm at home or when I'm out in like normal life, there's all these rules, and I'm always trying to like figure out what the rules are. Yeah. Because it's the same reason why like I don't know how you are like if you're around your family, but like there's all these, I don't know, like I don't want to say rules, but I don't know what else to call it. Like, like kind of like standards that you're like, am I operating within the constraints that like society says is okay? Mm-hmm. Or if you're in the woods, who cares if your kid's loud? Who cares if they do that? And it's just way easier,
Yeah.
I think. So we go on a lot of hikes and talk about like being uncomfortable and, if it's raining, being like, it's okay to be wet. It's okay to be muddy. It's okay to get dirty. It's okay to fall, scrape your knee. All that stuff is just part of the human experience.
Wow.
And they seem to be pretty good about it. Like
That's incredible, man.
Yeah, we went to the Cattaraugus Fair last weekend, which another like thing, dude, like go to the little fairs. The Erie County Fair sucks compared to the Chautauqua and the Cattaraugus County Fair. Also, if you want to feel like literally like the hottest dude in the world, go to the Chautauqua County Fair, man. Like I went to college in Fredonia, but there's no college girls going to the Chautauqua County Fair. You did?
Yeah,
so
I think
funny.
we talked about that.
We probably did. I have no memory.
I've
destroyed my brain with drugs and alcohol. But
we've all done a little of that. But Fredonia's a great town. I used to be in bands there and play all the bars there. Sonny's, yeah. Yeah, we were one of the first bands that ever played Sonny's.
I don't remember seeing bands really.
Yeah,
it was
a dance club.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'd have like national acts come in, and we would open up for them and stuff.
Really?
And
that's super
as
cool.
well as do our own gigs up on the stage and stuff.
We opened up
for. This was like dating myself, but I already said my age. Do you remember the band Jackal?
No.
These are like 80s hair bands.
Okay.
That came, that were still going on in the 90s. And so Jackal was a band that, maybe this will jog your memory. They used a chainsaw as an instrument. So instead of like a guitar solo in the middle of the song, they used a chainsaw for the guitar solo.
Just
I swear to God. Yeah, like just to rev it up and change the pitch.
Would change the pitch.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it was cool. And I got I don't think we got pictures, but I got like.
Did you have long hair?
I did have long hair.
Did you
very long hair.
Tease it and what is the word? I was gonna say
once or twice.
Queef it up, but I don't think quaff.
Yeah.
I was like, it's definitely not queef it up, but I could
not
think of the right word.
I did not queef up my hair, although that would be interesting. Would be something to explore, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I did do a couple of not always, because it just kind of fell, and like when my hair gets long, it gets like curly and ringlety.
Yeah.
Kind of like Christian's is now.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of had its own style. But if you saw, it would be a little silly. Anyway. Yeah. You're a drummer too.
Yeah. I never played really anywhere at Fredonia. I was in a band at the time, but we didn't play around there for some reason. But yeah, I was in bands and like toured around, and that's what I thought it was going to happen in my life.
The same. I wanted to be a rock star.
Yeah, I was like, I got signed to a label when I was probably like 18.
Wow, you got farther than me.
Well, that sounds way fancier than it really is. It was like this indie label in this little town called Medina, New York, between Buffalo and Rochester.
Oh, okay. I got signed to a label too then.
Yeah, they were like, but they like, did some basic tour support and made an album for us, and I think they tried their best. It was like the late 90s, early 2000s, and everything about the music industry was changing.
Yeah.
And like these guys, they were a lot older than me. Like
the rest of the band, you mean?
Yeah. But it was like a cool opportunity for me. So I was like, I'll do it. Yeah. So it was fun, cool. But like, and then afterwards I went and did like solo stuff as like a singer-songwriter, and then would tour with bands.
Cool.
To like, so I could open for them. Like that was my pitch. It's like, I'll open if I open for you, if you let me open for you.
Yeah.
Right. Because
so what did you do as a singer-songwriter? Guitar?
Yeah, I just sing and play guitar.
Wow.
But so like, how when guys are finally in their 20s, they're like, there's always a dude in the band who's like trying to get his life together.
Yeah.
And so like he can't go on the road. So I would like approach those bands and say, hey, I'll play fill in the blank band instrument, and in exchange, can I open for you? And I'll just, if you let me play with you and transport me around and give me a place to sleep.
Wow.
And I'll just sell merch, and that's how.
That's pretty cool. How long did you do that for?
A while. I guess, maybe like 4 or 5 years.
Really?
I wasn't touring all the time. Like I would
Yeah.
tour, come home, I did construction,
Yeah.
and then I was doing like graphic design and web development too, like on the side, because I could do that while I was touring. But
That's super cool.
yeah.
That's something I never knew about you. Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man. I mean, you were living the dream, the rock star dream.
Yeah, but I didn't appreciate it because I was always like waiting for the next thing to come.
Yeah.
So like no matter how cool the gig was or the moment, like it was always like, oh man, now this is the chance. This is the thing that's gonna take me to the next level,
Yeah.
right? Like I had some like songs on TV shows and stuff.
Wow,
and I'd be
cool.
like, oh man, like now, like MTV's like playing my song in the background of their
Awesome.
shows. Like
Yeah.
now it's just a matter of time before something happens, and
Yeah.
then nothing
Yeah.
does, and you're like, ah. Or you'd open for some band or like be on some big stage or something like that, and you're like, oh, now this is it. So I don't think I really ever appreciated the fact that I was living the dream. Like it
Yeah.
just felt like I was this poor tired dude living in vans and sleeping on like, you know, the floor of a hotel room that I
Yeah.
was sharing with other guys.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And looking back, I mean, that sounds so romantic now.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
It's like, wow. How
Yeah, people hear the
cool.
story and they'll be like, "Oh man, I wish I had stories like that." I'm like,
Yeah.
it sounds way cooler
Yeah.
than it was when I was doing it. When I was
Sure.
doing it, it was just like, "Oh my gosh, like,
Yeah. I'm homeless.
oh yeah, I felt homeless."
I'm a wanderer.
Yeah, or if I was by myself, I
Yeah.
had like, you know, my car was just filled with like my PA and like my merch stuff, and you'd be driving around by yourself just in a city for like 3 days trying to play open mics until your show, and
Yeah.
you know, asking.
How did you not get your shit stolen ever?
I don't know, honestly. Like I feel like
Ooh.
I was always like, so even though I just said I was complaining and just now, you know, but like I was really lucky. Like I don't know, I really
Yeah.
don't. Like, dude, I would just announce from the stage because I in all the years of touring, I probably paid for a hotel room like 5 times. Like I would announce from the stage that I needed a place, and people would be like, "Oh, dude, you can." And this is before like the internet
awesome.
was like
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, MySpace was a
Thumbtack
thing.
didn't exist.
I don't even know what that is today.
Yeah. That's when you look for places, people, whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah. I would just like announce, be like, "Hey, if anybody's got a couch or a place," or I'd stay at the venues and stuff. But
Wow, yeah.
I never had anything stolen. I mean, I had like this old camera bag that I kept like a bunch of my audio gear in, and like I lost a microphone,
Yeah.
but like I never really had anything swiped.
Wow. Yeah.
That I remember. I mean, I also
Yeah.
have a bad memory, so maybe there's something I'm forgetting.
Maybe you lost a guitar or two.
Yeah. And even then, I would always borrow. Like I was so broke, I would like borrow people's gear all the time. Like I would go on the road like without my own bass, and I would just like borrow a bass, or go on the road without my own guitar and amp, and like borrow some friend's guitar amp for like 2 months or something like that.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's good you had those resources too, right?
Yeah, like again, I was always really lucky. Like
Yeah.
everything just kind of. I wish I could have, and I still struggle with this, right? I wish I could have allowed myself to appreciate the opportunity that was before me while it was there.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of always thinking about, well, maybe now, maybe now. I think that's something I still struggle with. Is like,
Well, I struggled with that too. I mean, with
Yeah.
everything. I mean, if you look back on things and you say to yourself, wow, that was actually a really profound experience that shaped the person who I am right now. I wish I could have known that at the time,
Right.
Looking back. But I mean, maybe if we did know that at the time, we'd be different people now. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, I do think that gratitude is so important because I think it breeds more opportunities. Like when we first showed up before the mics were on, we were talking, I was saying that kind of stuff. And it's like,
For sure.
yeah, I think if I would have had, I don't think I had a bad attitude. I didn't not like it, but it always seemed like, okay, it was always building for something. And I think I still struggle. I mean, I do still struggle with that, right? Like, I'll have some cool project that comes in, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right, now I'm connected with this client, and it's going to just lead to like, this windfall of more opportunities.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really
You
always
hope,
go
at
that way.
least.
You
Yeah.
hope, but
Yeah.
it's so funny because so many times opportunities come from like things you never expected, and like the path that you think is somehow going to lead to like this amazing, opportunity
Perfect life, right?
doesn't always work out. Yeah, I think that's kind of the interesting thing about this experience called life.
Speaking of next client, excuse me. You started your own. Well, I got to get something to drink.
Yeah, no worries.
My pause. I started taking. This is gonna turn into a commercial. But I started taking AG1 just because it's all over my feed.
AG1.
Yeah, Athletic Greens.
Mm.
And
I've heard of that.
yeah, I.
Whoops. Are we rolling?
Yeah. I love them because I definitely noticed a difference. Along with working out, like I now have more energy throughout the day. And it's not like a caffeine energy spike
right.
and then fall off, or a sugar energy spike and fall off. It is a steady energy all day long, where I used to take a nap almost every day, at least 20 to 40 minutes in the middle of the day or when I got home from work. But now, like, I don't have to. If I get my 6 to 8 hours a night of sleep at night, I don't have to take that nap during the day. And it's a steady energy, a calm energy all day, where I am not, like
right.
jittery or like go. But it's like, but I'm aware. I'm like, things are bright, like things are in focus, and it's. I mean, I highly recommend it.
Is it like dehydrated and then powdered greens? Is that all it is? Or is there like some proprietary, blend of whatever they put in there? Or what is it really? And what makes it athletic?
I think it's like no sugar, like, it focuses. What? Huh?
I think I moved.
That's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. And don't move the whole.
Don't move the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can adjust it though if you want to.
What do I do right here?
Right there.
I'm just kind of lounging.
There is like height.
Oh, okay.
Right there. What was I saying? Oh,
athletic greens.
Yeah, but the whole reason I brought it up is because wait, let me see. Now I gotta move mine. All right. How's that? Great. Because I started adding taurine to it. Have you heard of taurine? There's no like strict scientific research or papers on it yet, but it was like, it's said to reverse aging. But
okay.
It's like,
do you follow like
Brian
when you say Johnson, that, like his whole protocol? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
He's like this guy who's like mid 40s. He's doing this like he's like a millionaire like hundreds of times over, right? He created some company, sold it for like 300 million, and then has kind of made it his life's goal to like reverse his aging. Ooh. So he has this whole like protocol that he follows, and it's like really intense.
Older guy.
Yeah, he's like 46, so I mean younger than you.
Yeah, no,
older than me.
No, not. I'm thinking of a older guy that's trying to reverse aging. But anyway,
I think that's his name, but I could get it wrong.
No, but the whole reason I brought that up was because the taurine is not ground as fine as the athletic greens, so it's really gritty, and it'll get in my throat and like do what it just did, and made me have to go get some water but the beneficial part though is, and I swear to God, when I started taking this, and I should start with, I'm getting older, and I noticed how there's a ton of white and gray in my beard, and the side of my hair and stuff, and then
I'm like agreeing with it. I'm like, oh yeah, you do look.
Yeah.
I just mean like, oh yeah, I see.
Holy shit,
I'm seeing the same thing in myself. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying. I felt a certain kind of way there.
Sorry about that, man.
Anyway, so I noticed, more and more white and stuff. And then I noticed like my beard wasn't as full as it was before. And I'm like, wait, what the hell's going on? Is my testosterone dropping or something? Which happens after 40, you know? So I'm like, oh, damn it, what am I going to do? Okay, I'm going to look into TRT and whatever. And then I started taking these supplements and working out. So I just shaved my beard. I'm like, fuck it, I don't want to deal with it. I'm just shaved it, had a clean shaven face. And but I missed it, So then I started these supplements and with my workout regimen, and grew my beard back and noticed less gray and more filling in than it was before.
Interesting.
And I'm like, what is going on here? Is it because I shaved it off and it's growing back and it just reset,
Yeah, right.
Or what is actually happening? And then my hairdresser said something about it. She said, you're not dyeing your beard, right? And I'm like, no, what? Like, you notice it's darker than it was before, right? She's like, yeah, it looks a little darker. I'm like, okay, well, I started taking these supplements. She's like, oh yeah, because vitamin blah, 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 blah. And she started listing the stuff that actually does that to hair.
Really?
Because she's really, really studied hair. She's
Yeah,
not just
right.
a hairdresser.
It's her
She's just,
passion. That's what she's into.
exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe there's something to it, and this actually is working. So anyway, that's my reverse aging story.
I should try it.
Yeah.
Taurine. And you
Taurine,
attribute most of that to taurine?
Taurine?
Or do you think it's a blend of athletic greens and taurine?
See,
Or
took them,
also the addition of exercise too?
I think I can't pinpoint which one it is because I started them all relatively around the same time. I mean, I started working out first, then I added the athletic greens, and then noticed a huge difference in my energy after a month of the athletic greens, and then added taurine, and then noticed my beard changing. The hair, at least. And I think on the sides of my hair, too. So,
congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you did ask me about supplements, and I don't think I ever answered. I do take a vitamin, like a multivitamin, and I take a bunch of vitamin D, way more than what you're supposed to take.
Well, I think we all started taking more over the pandemic, right?
Yeah, right.
I think that was the whole myth or whatever.
Yeah, I started taking a bunch of stuff, but I kept taking vitamin D. So I take a bunch of vitamin D, and then I've been trying to really watch what I'm eating, and so I've been trying to get enough protein, and then I started taking creatine for the first time in forever.
Yeah, so, I've never taken it.
Me neither. I took it when in high school or early college, maybe for a couple weeks.
Because it was huge 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's when I was doing it.
Yeah.
And I actually had mentioned to my buddy, dude, this guy, I've known him for forever, but he was this super skinny dude, 150 pounds, 6 foot. And he's just been really consistent for the last 4 or 5 years lifting. So now he's 190 pounds, the same body fat percentage. He just looks like a freaking Greek god.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I was mentioning
to him,
a guy like
what
that. What do you take, man? Do you take anything? He's like, nah, just protein and creatine. I was like, yeah, I should get that. And then the next time he came over, he brought over a thing of creatine. He's like, here, have this, man.
Yeah.
And he's got an awesome gym in his basement, and he just lives down the street from me. Weirdly, he bought a house down the street from where I bought a house.
Yeah.
And so I've been taking that, and I've liked.
You notice the difference?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to attribute it to my hard work and dedication.
Yeah,
but
of course.
It's probably the fact that I'm taking some creatine. I think it was just helping because I was recovery. It really what it does is it saturates your muscles, with ability to hydrate itself.
Right.
That's supposed to help with repair.
Yeah.
Again, this is a moron's understanding of what creatine does.
That's more than what I understand it does.
And so yeah, I think it's helping with recovery because that's ultimately when your muscles grow. And I'm not trying to get jacked. I just want to be able to lift my kid under their bed.
Exactly.
But it helps because you're dropping the weight, and instead of I don't even want to throw out the numbers that I'm using. They're so embarrassing. But you're just using weights, and you're I'm still sore. So anything that's going to help. I should say anything that's going to help, but something that's been as well researched and
safe,
been around as long as creatine. But the reason I started doing cold plunges is I listened to guys like Andrew Huberman.
Yes.
If you've ever listened to him.
Yeah.
He
Huberman Lab.
Yeah, I love it. And he was talking about there's been some research that shows cold exposure, not just a cold shower, but actually submersion, and then doing that, and shortly thereafter doing a really strenuous workout actually can increase testosterone. So that was a big reason for doing the cold plunges.
Yeah.
Not only challenging myself in the same way I'm telling my daughters, right? Expand the range in which you're comfortable.
Yeah.
It was well, I should be doing this for myself, but also if that expansion of my comfort zone results in increased testosterone, right? As a guy in his 40s, who doesn't really want to take, testosterone replacement therapy, I thought maybe that'll help. So
yeah, for sure. I want to do the cold plunge. I just don't know where to start. Like I started by taking a cold shower, and I couldn't. Like it was too freaking cold.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like
I hated it every day.
yeah.
Like every single day. I did it until the water was too warm, because there is like a range in which it's most beneficial, and I guess that's man, at one point I knew exactly what the numbers were. I want to say it's like mid 30s up to like mid 50s, and
Degrees.
Yeah, 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
And the colder it is, the less time you need. The longer it is, the more time you need. I was going to the lake sometimes too, because I'm not too far from Lake Erie, and like that water was cold. Ooh. Going under is like the really hard. I would
all the way under, head under.
Yeah. You want to feel like you're a weakling, just go underwater for a few minutes. I heard like one of the Gracies like does this whole like 5 minutes underwater the whole time with like a snorkel. And like for me, I'm like, man, if I get like 20 seconds at the end, I'm just like, take a deep breath, take your head under, and you come out and your head is just like throbbing. It's like this ice cream headache for your whole brain.
Really?
You know?
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I'm not like probably says like anybody listening who knows anything about cold plunges is like, oh yeah, that's because you're weak. But yeah, dude, I would try to do that, but it's the same thing. Like I think showing up just creates opportunities. Like the one day I was in there and I saw like this like river trout, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go chase it. And so it's like, so I was going through the river trying to catch this thing, which was cool. And then like a few days after that, like I'm in the water, because there was this one place that I went, where when I sat down in the creek, it kind of came to where I try to get like just to like my chin was in the water. I wanted as much of my body submerged as possible. And dude, like I heard this crash, and I saw like maybe like 40 feet in front of me this limb hit the ground. And I look up, and there's a bald eagle, and it kind of orbited around me, and I was like, how awesome is that? Like I saw I've never seen a bald eagle that close before. Right? Had I not gone into this cold plunge, I wouldn't have gotten it. But yeah, every day I had like, my laundry list of reasons I didn't want to do it. Probably at the top of the list, I did not want to be cold.
Right. Yeah.
The only thing that made me feel better is you listen to guys like David Goggins and like, oh yeah, man, like cold water breaks you.
Ooh.
It's never easier.
David Goggins scares the shit out of me, dude. He is so hardcore. I mean, what an inspiration, right? But to sit and listen to him, and like I can't.
He's
like,
another level of expanding his range of comfort.
Level.
He's not even interested in comfort. Like he's interested in abusing his body and finding like solace in knowing he can.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's just got a different brain. He just do me a favor. Bring your chair for.
I'm
do you hear it squeaking? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because it's hitting the wall.
I wasn't really paying attention.
There you go.
All right. I'll try to adjust this back to my face. There we go.
Yeah, it should be good.
Right. Yeah, it was like real. Am I good?
Closer, I think the mic.
Closer.
Yeah, as close as you can. Yeah. Well, you know what I mean.
Within reason.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. We're talking about Goggins. What a next level dude. I mean, he's so inspiring, but he scares the shit out of me. And I'm thinking to the time where he just ran some kind of marathon, and by the end of it, like all his toenails were falling off, and he was bloody, and like he was running on broken feet. Like he broke his feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dude. So I think using him as kind of the upper
don't
level
gauge
of
your life.
hardness.
Yeah.
I'm like way at the bottom.
Well, but you're doing a lot more than a lot of people.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't do anything. So like, that's I don't know.
But I think
I try not to compare myself too much because it's so easy to, because you're always going to find somebody doing more than you. You're always going to find somebody doing less than you. And if you're culling this sample set that you're comparing yourself to, you can really skew where you think you are in this world. So I'm just trying to do what I can do to the level that I can do it, I guess.
What's the saying? Comparison is the thief of joy. Is that saying?
Yeah, very true.
Of this?
I think I met you. Did I meet you on that thing with D-Post and Todd, where it was like this gangster thing?
Yes.
I was like first ADing, and you were an actor. How do you say it? Actor or actor? The fancier way?
I don't say it either way. I don't.
Oh. Do you call yourself like a thespian?
No, God. Can you imagine? People do that though, right?
You're like, I am.
I'm a thespian. But like that's
An
more
actor
like a
of the
theater
stage.
person, right?
Yeah.
No offense to theater people. I'm just not that guy. I've never done theater. Have you done theater?
No, man. I don't know how people memorize words. I've done acting jobs, and every time I'm like, how are you supposed to memorize these words?
But we memorize songs.
I'm not good at that either. Like even then, like
make up stuff on the fly.
I have, I have,
Yeah. I've drummed, totally obliterated, and I would drum and sing. Yeah. And I was, there were some nights where I was just on autopilot because I'd be so. Not that I'm bragging or anything like that. I'm just looking back and thinking like, how in the hell did I do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeesh.
Most of the time I played sober, but I went through a phase. I was in a cover band. We were called America's #1 cover band.
Nice.
We named ourselves this. We were not giving this title away anymore. We were definitely not what we said we were. But and this is before like the pound sign. It was called a hashtag.
Yes.
So we called ourselves A#1CB.
Oh.
And dude, I will say the most frustrating thing about that band, it was really fun. I played bass in it. It was a good time. But you know how like I toured doing original stuff, and you'd always think.
Oops. That's the alarm.
To be done. They're like,
sorry.
It's okay. Well, like you'd always think like, oh man, like I'm gonna play this city, and the next time I come, I'm gonna have more people come, and the next time I come, there'll be more people, and before you know it, the labels will not be able to ignore me. They will definitely give me some amazing opportunity, and not just some little label in Medina, New York, but some like Atlantic Records will be knocking at my door.
Yeah.
That never happened. My friends wouldn't even want to come to shows, right? You'd play a show, you'd invite your friends. 2 months later, they'd be like, "Didn't I just go see you play?"
Yeah, I already saw you.
Yeah, I saw you. Do you have something new to offer? And you're like,
exactly.
No, I'm just playing the same stuff, dude. But I'd love for your body to be in that room.
Yeah, I need your support. Thanks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when we did America's #1 cover band, like friends would come up to us afterward and be like, "When are you guys having another show? That was amazing." And all we did was like pop covers of songs, and half the music that we played to was just pre-recorded tracks.
Yeah.
So we did everything to a click. Yeah. Like we did like Take on Me. Our keyboardist couldn't play chords. He could like. I shouldn't say he couldn't play chords. All he could play was like basic chords. Yeah. But like there's like that big keyboard riff and Take on Me. Yeah. We just had it programmed, and so he would just run it over the top of the keyboard and be like, "Yeah." People would be like, yeah. And people didn't care. They were just having fun. Wow. But I would play that pretty obliterated. Yeah. Because it didn't matter. Because nobody cared. They were just having a good time. Yeah. Listening to songs that they knew. Because that's all people want. They just want the same things as they knew when they're out, having fun, letting go of realities of life.
And I'm thinking back because you mentioned the Todd Blanca gangster movie. Yeah. Which I loved playing that role, man. I love playing evil, bad, and I don't often get to do that. So that was refreshing. Yeah. Yeah. But we connected after that, and I mean, we just like hit it off like that. We would get together because we wanted to initially get together to make more stuff like that. Right? Yeah. Yeah. And it ended up being just like becoming really good friends instead of making stuff. We would just like hang out. Yeah. And found out that we had a ton of shit in common, and we just, kept in touch and kept being friends. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I do want to start making stuff again.
Yeah.
I haven't really, since having the girls, like I haven't really done a lot of stuff just for fun, right? Mm-hmm. Like my free time's really limited. Like you mentioned that, like, the 48-hour film project's coming up. And it's like, that was fun. Like I enjoyed working on those things. There was something nice about being like, hey, there's this little period of time in which we're going to make and finish this thing. Yeah. But, I have the girls every weekend, and I had a couple friends reach out to me about like, hey, are you doing it? I'm like, I don't know. But even outside of that, it's like, oh, why don't I just do stuff? I was doing sketch comedy for a while, and I loved it. Yeah, it was really fun. That doesn't mean that everything we made was funny. I would say most stuff wasn't funny. I think just comedy is like the hardest thing, and so it was like it's really hard. Good practice.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like the practice, the putting in the time, putting in your 10,000 hours, and just doing it and doing it and doing it and getting. I mean, you obviously can see the progression. right? I mean, you're not at day one now.
Yeah, even if the thing is funny, it does. You know, I don't want to say everything we do like progressed to be funnier and funnier and funnier when I was doing it, but like just the skill set around like from the basics of producing the content to and getting everything moving, or all the way back to even like writing it in that process and just flexing those muscles and getting used to it. I really do think that the comedy is like the hardest thing.
It is, yeah.
You know, if you were to ask people to name like 100 awesome songs, most people would be like, all right, yeah, there's no problem. There's 100 awesome songs. But if you're like, name 100 amazing sketches, it's like, oh, I don't know. Name 10 of your favorite sketches. It's hard.
Or comedians. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it starts to get really, really hard. Even though they're great sketches out there, I think it's just tough. So if you can work on that stuff and get somebody to laugh, or at least say like, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
You know, like you're kind of on your way.
Yeah.
I think it's a weird thing. I shouldn't say weird thing, but it's interesting how like, you know, Facebook Reels and TikTok have created like this other genre of comedy where it's a lot of talking.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of talk-based comedy, which for a long time I would have said was like not what I wanted to do. You know, when the sketch is talking, you know what I mean? So it's not stand-up.
Yeah, and
it's just like one guy changing his shirt and being like, oh,
yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say, just
one
one person.
Yeah,
yeah.
But it's interesting. I think a lot of funny. I've seen a lot of funny sketches come out of that, and
even like backing up further, like memes.
Yeah.
I mean, memes just busting in on the scene. I mean, that's like a its own form of comedy.
Yeah.
And GIFs, you know, GIF.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, they never existed until 5-10 years ago. I don't know
Maybe,
either.
I don't know. I feel like longer than that, but
maybe
it couldn't be too long. I mean, the internet's only so old.
Yeah.
Where people had the bandwidth to download a photo.
Oh my God. Do you remember the first dial-up?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember that. Wow. So crazy.
Yikes. Anyway, we got to wrap it up.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming in. Was
Thanks
this
for
what
having
you
me.
expected?
You know, I guess I thought we were going to talk about like acting or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what he wants to hear about. But so we're talking about like cold plunges, and I'm like, yeah, I love talking about stuff like that.
Yeah, of course.
I had a great time. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
I appreciate it.